Welcome to my video series. I'm Susanna Liller, and it's time to find your happiness. And the tool I use to help you do that is the heroine's journey, an ancient archetype that's been in our literature. It's been with us for thousands of years. And I happen to believe that there's a certain energy to it that if you know it, it helps you live a better life. So where we've been in this video series, the last month, we talked about the threshold guardians. And those are the thoughts in your head or the people around you that when you come up with a goal, a dream, something you really want to be doing, you hear those voices. They're all around you, inside and outside, about you can't do it, you're not smart enough, you don't have the credentials, you'll never make enough money, all those things that come forward, warning you, wanting you to be safe, wanting you to think about what could happen instead of encouraging you, which is what I'm here to do, because I know you can do it, because I know you've done it before. So let's talk about actually crossing the threshold. And we're going to talk about that in 4 different ways in 4 different videos. And this one is going to be remembering the times you've done it, crossed before, taken what I call a leap before. And I call it a leap because oftentimes it isn't just a mild step across the threshold into an adventure. It's usually something that takes a lot of courage, and you really feel like sometimes you're leaping over an abyss. And so we're going to talk about this in this video, how you've done it before. The next one, we're going to talk about the types of leaps. There are different ways they happen. Sometimes you get pushed. That can be a really uncomfortable type of leaping over an abyss. And then we're going to talk about the anatomy of a leap, which breaks the leap down, the actual action down into its different parts, which can be useful to know. And then finally, in the 4th video, we'll talk about how everything changes on the other side of the threshold. You're in your comfort zone. You are picturing, making assumptions, viewing what you're about to do a certain way. You cross over and your whole perspective changes. You don't see it the way you saw it before you left on the other side. It's like turning a kaleidoscope. Everything changes. And where we are now, as far as the arc of the heroine's journey, is we're in the middle. There are 3 parts. The first part, the first stage, if you want to call it, is the preparation. You're getting the thought of what you want to do, that's your call. You are kind of orienting yourself, getting your courage up. And the middle part is the transformation. It's when the changes happen. Good things happen, bad things happen. You meet helpful people, unhelpful people. You get, bottom line, you get challenged. And those challenges are what grow you, develop you, move you into your greater self. This spiral around the heroine's journey. And the last phase is return. You return over the return threshold. You're in your same life. Maybe you're in a different place. And how will the ripple effects of who you have become affect the people around you? Always positively for heroines on the heroine's journey. So here we are. We're leaping. Now, what I want to remind you of, and I want you to do this with me in an exercise I do in my school for real life heroines, is I ask you to remember when you've done this before. So these are times when you have gone way out of your comfort zone and done something new, done something different, made a big change in your life. Look back. So for me, just to help you think of what these could be, actually, I've recently done one, and that was when I published my book 2 years ago. And that was, I had a call to write it. So that whole writing it was a heroine's journey. But then publishing it, you sort of throw it out there. I threw it out ahead of me over the threshold, and then I had to land behind it. And it's about landing, and then now what? What do you do? But I did it, and I did the book writing and other ones. I went through a difficult divorce a long time ago. That was definitely a threshold crossing, definitely required a lot of preparation and courage to do it. I left 2 different times, being in one time in a corporation for 12 years, where everybody, those threshold guardians, when I decided I wanted to leave and become an entrepreneur, they were all telling me, you will never be able to do it. You will never be able to find the security that you have here in this big corporation. You've done well. Why would you leave? That was a big, big leap for me that worked out very well. I wouldn't be here talking to you if I were still there on the other side of that particular threshold. And even as an entrepreneur, I had joined a small consulting firm. My work then had been in conflict management and resolution and organizational development and working with groups. And I had joined a small firm and doing well, learning a lot. And I got the call to leave again within that I needed to be out on my own. And that was a big leap for me. So leaving is always, think about the times you've had to leave. Also times when you've embraced something new, a new relationship, getting married, having a child, all those things I know you've done before. So in the exercise, what I have the women do in my course is they first identify. I ask them, identify 3 to 5 ways you in the past have gone way out of your comfort zone. And oftentimes it takes some real remembering. I find that it's like childbirth. You forget what you've done. Women seem to be so focused on going forward and what's next and conquering the next mountain. They forget the mountains they've already conquered and what it took and how hard it was. So I want you to remember and write them down. Get a piece of paper, number 1 through 3 or 1 through 5. And the first thing is you went way out by, and what did you do? And then the second thing is how it felt when you were doing it. So let's go to my difficult divorce. I was scared to death, truly, for many reasons, which we won't go into now. But I had to combat those threshold guardian voices at every moment. And I actually had a phrase that I would use, not a phrase, but actually a Bible verse that I would use, the 23rd Psalm, that I would quickly say to, just because it calmed me down. Not that all that I'm a student of the Bible, but that the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, had a real calming effect on me. And that's what I needed. I need to replace the fear with something that would help me. So how did it feel? And each of those, write down what the feeling was. And then the third thing is, well, what did you gain? What did you gain by that leap into the unknown? You gathered your courage, you felt certain feelings, and then looking back, what did you gain? And then the final, and I do this in 4 columns, you can do it however it works for you on your piece of paper, but the fourth is, what did it take? What's like the bottom line thing it took for you to actually do it? For me, there's the carrot and the stick thing. And I had a lot of sticks that drove me to make the decision to finally get that divorce, to leave, to actually leave. More and more bad things had to happen. And, I'm afraid that oftentimes that's the way it is when it's a hard thing that we don't want to do or we're afraid. But write down what it took. So what was it? How did you feel? What did you gain? And then what did it take to that? Actually, I do a lot of interviewing of real life heroines. And I have a podcast, the podcast for real life heroines. And the thing that gets me so interested, my curiosity is always about, all right, I hear what you did. You started a business. You overcame difficulties. You decided to do this nonprofit. What was the thing that got you to actually decide, yeah, I'm doing this, no matter what the threshold guardians are saying, no matter what the challenge is, I'm doing it. What was the motivation? We all have it. And so I want you now to look at these and look back. I wonder if you're noticing a pattern. Is there any pattern in these leaps for you? For me, when I did this, it seems like often I ran up against a certain core belief in me. And we'll talk about the name that I give these in my course later. But some deep, you don't even necessarily know it's there, core belief that's driving your life, and you don't even know it. And what came up for me when I looked at this and what I had done in my leaps was, I'm always worried about going it alone. I always feel like I need somebody to be there with me. When I left my big manufacturing company, I left with another woman who we started a business together. And if I'm honest with myself, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have left if she hadn't left with me. So that's something I really learned about myself because I went back and looked at these. So I would encourage you to do this exercise. Just even think of 2 things, 2 times when you took a big leap out of your comfort zone. And then there are some tips for crossing or rules for how you do this that I want you to keep in mind. And one is that everybody's leap looks different. What might be hard for you might not be hard at all for somebody else. And where you might be afraid about something, they wouldn't be, or vice versa. So in all things, when you're on the heroine's journey, wherever you are on the map, comparing to another heroine where she is doesn't help you. Another tip is the belief in yourself. You got the call. Somewhere inside you, you got this urge to make a change, do something different, try something out, leave, embrace something new. Believe that that's for real. Maybe, again, the culture, everything around you is saying, no, don't do it. Your voice, believe in that voice stronger than you believe in any other voice around you. That's the true voice, your own voice. And what else? Who are you listening to? Always keep that in mind. I mean, the belief in yourself, I can do it. I wouldn't have had this call if I couldn't do it. But then pay attention to who you're listening to. Oftentimes, when I have a leap, a big one to make, I don't check in with anybody because then you get all the advice and when I did that, It's not about them and their advice and what happened to them. It's about you. Listen to yourself. Make friends with fear, because I've already told you it'll most likely be with you all the time, because it's so simple. You're leaving what you know and you're going into an area that you don't know. So expect to be fearful, or expect to be anxious, or expect to be uncomfortable. Expect to be in transition, leaving one room where you felt so good and going out into the hallway, and you don't know where you're going to go next, what door you're going to open, and it feels weird in the hallway because you haven't settled into anything. Expect that, because that's the way it is. It's part of it. So embrace it. And always remember to vision it. Vision the best outcome, how you want it to be. You can, with the help of the threshold guardians, think, oh, this is going to be hard. How's this going to work? I don't know if I can do it. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. Or you can say, it's going to unfold exactly in the best way for me. And if you have to make that an affirmation, then do it. It takes some remembering to remember that you can switch it up like that. That's the heroine's mindset. It will unfold perfectly for me. So why don't we give ourselves credit for what we've done before? And as I've said, I think women are always looking forward. It's easy to forget. It's easy to discount it because you're thinking, oh, well, look what she's done. And I haven't done that. And who am I? I'm just an ordinary person. Part of my mission in doing this work is to get you to realize that you are a heroine. You are on an ancient journey, an ancient pattern of how to do your life, because you have left your comfort zone. You have stuck your neck out and taken a risk and done things that you didn't think you could do, and you've forgotten. You know, sometimes people say, well, you know, that's not a heroine. That's a badass boss lady. Or that's, one of my good friends says, battle-tested warrior queen. And I even have another friend who has his bars, hot shit, badass rock stars. That's what people are who really accomplish things, what women are that are really out there rocking their world and rocking the world. They're all heroines. They're all on this journey. They might not know it. They have different names, and you can call yourself whatever makes sense to you. But I want you to see that if you have had the courage to step out, to leap out of your comfort zone and go into something where you didn't know how it was all going to be, and so it was difficult, full of challenges. Heroines call it an adventure. If you have done that, you are all of those names. I call it a heroine because this journey has been around for a long time, and I love the continuity of it. This story, yes, way in the beginning, it was always told with a man, the hero's journey. Those were the examples. But this journey has been around forever. And why? And we're still talking about it. We still have it in our popular movies and books. And in my favorite Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, just those phases in there are all recounted. So it's something that brings us into this age-old path. And if it wasn't important, why would it still be in our culture? Because It's a handbook for life. And if you know about it, it will help you. So that's why I'm here, to convince you that you're a his bars, a battle-tested warrior queen, a badass rock star, a heroine. And mostly, I want you to remember that you are a heroine and what you've done, and don't forget. So I hope that you will stay tuned for the next video and you'll learn more about this LEAP concept, which you have done. I hope that you will check out my school and go online, go to my website and find the School for Real Life Heroines, or just follow me on Instagram at Susanna Liller. And I hope that I see you in one of those places. But bottom line, remember, you are a heroine.